Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's learn computer science. Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. In our previous lesson, we learned about von Neumann architecture and how modern computers store both data and instructions in memory. But have you ever wondered what actually happens inside the CPU? How does the CPU know which instruction to execute? Where does it store data while performing calculations? How does it remember what it is doing? The answer lies in some tiny but extremely important components called registers. But before we study how registers work, how the CPU executes instructions, let's first understand the components inside the CPU and then role of registers. So you all know the central processing unit, also known as the processor, is the main part of the computer, and it is responsible for executing instructions, processing the data, and controlling the operation of the entire computer system. CPU also forms the heart of the von Neumann architecture and works continuously to fetch, decode, and execute instructions stored in memory. The CPU basically consists of three main components: arithmetic logical unit, control unit, and registers. Arithmetic logical unit performs basically arithmetic calculations, logical operations, etc. Control unit acts like a manager. It controls the movement of data and instructions and coordinate the activities of all CPU components. And registers, they are tiny storage locations inside the CPU. And today's lesson is all about them. So let's understand what are registers and how do they work. What are registers? Let me ask you a question. Imagine you're solving a difficult math problem. Would you keep opening your textbook every few seconds to look at the same numbers? Probably not. You would write important values on rough paper or on rough notebook. Why? Because it's faster, right? Registers, they work exactly like that rough paper. They are small storage locations located inside the CPU because they are very close to the ALU and a control unit. They can be accessed extremely quickly. However, why are registers needed? Now, CPU works incredibly fast. RAM is fast too, but not as fast as CPU. So if the processor had to constantly access RAM for every small piece of information, processing would slow down. So registers are used to solve this problem by temporarily storing data, instructions, and addresses, right? We do have cache memory also in order to help CPU in accessing data in a faster way. However, that we'll cover in some other video. Today's focus is only on registers. Now let's also talk about types of registers. Registers can be divided into, mainly as per your syllabus requirement, general purpose registers and special purpose registers. Under general purpose registers, we'll learn about accumulator, and under special purpose register, we'll cover program counter, memory address register, memory data register, current instruction register, index register, and status register. Let's understand each one of these one by one. So as I said, registers are of two types. So first is general purpose register. Now general purpose registers are used to store data temporarily that may be required during processing, and it can be used for variety of tasks depending upon requirement of the instructions being executed, right? And as per your syllabus requirement, we'll be learning about accumulator that is used as general purpose register. Okay. Next is special purpose register. Now, special purpose registers, they have dedicated functions within the CPU. Each register performs a specific role during the execution of the instructions. And we will cover one by one: program counter, memory address register, memory data register, current instruction register, index register, and status registers. Okay, let's start. First of all, accumulator. What is accumulator? Why it is used? Now, the accumulator, it stores data currently being processed and immediate results produced by ALU. Okay, so basically it is used to store intermediate results that are generated during the calculations. Okay, suppose let's say CPU needs to calculate 25 plus 15 and result is 40. So this result 40 may be stored temporarily and it can be used in some next instruction somewhere during the calculation. So this is temporarily stored. Even 25 is loaded, 15 is loaded. So all these data is temporarily stored and kept in accumulator. Okay. Next, let's talk about program counter. Now, program counter, it stores the address of the next instruction to be fetched from memory. As instructions are executed, program counter is updated so that the processor knows where to find the next instruction. So program counter's task or role is very, very important in fetch, decode, execute cycle. We will learn about fetch, decode, execute cycle in my upcoming videos. However, as of now, just understand that program counter stores the address of the next instruction that is to be fetched from the memory. Address of the next instruction. Okay. There is one example I have kept here for your easy reference. So load is first instruction stored at address number 100. Next instruction is add, which is stored at address 101. And then we have store instruction, which is stored at 102. So if the next instruction is stored at 101, while this instruction is being executed, so the program counter contains the value 101 while this instruction is being executed. So this is the address of the next instruction. So add can be found at 101. Clear? Then we have memory address register. Now memory address register, it stores the address of the memory location that is about to be accessed. The address stored in the MAR or memory address register may be used to read data from the memory, or we can also write data in the memory. And content of MAR are sent along the address bus because address bus carries addresses. We will learn about all three buses also in my upcoming videos in detail. Right now, just understand whatever content of MAR, they are taken from one place to another through address bus. There is one example I have written for your easy understanding. If data is required from memory location 500, the value 500 is first stored in MAR. Okay, so address of the memory location that is about to be accessed is stored in MAR. Next, we have memory data register. We also call it memory buffer register or MBR as well. The memory data register stores data that has just been read from memory or data that is about to be written into the memory. MDR acts like a buffer between memory and the processor. For example, when memory sends a value to the processor, that value is first placed in the MDR before being transferred to another register. Okay, so data is stored in MDR. Then we have current instruction register. Now, current instruction register, it stores the instruction currently being decoded and executed. Okay. After an instruction has been fetched from the memory, it is copied into CIR. For example, add 10 is the instruction that is currently being executed. This is stored in CIR while it is being processed. All right. Next, we have index register. Now, index register is used when indexed addressing is required. We will cover indexed addressing and other addressing modes in detail in my upcoming videos. As of now, just remember that index register is always used when indexed addressing is required. So there is one value which is stored in index register. As and when you need to calculate the address for indexed addressing mode, this value is combined with another address to access related memory location. So final memory location or memory address is calculated by adding value of index register in that. Next, we have status register. Status register is different from other registers because it does not normally store a single value. Instead, each bit within the register acts like a flag. Now, flags are either set or cleared. It can be either 0 or 1. Okay, set means 1 and cleared means 0, depending upon the outcome of operations performed by the CPU. Now, flag value 0, cleared, set 1, as I already said. Now, there are many flags, out of which first one is carry flag. Now, carry flag is set when a carry occurs during an arithmetic operation. So, if you're adding 1 and 1, you get 0 and there is a carry bit 1, right? So, in that case, carry flag is set to 1. And if you're adding 0 and 1, let's say, and you get 1, there is no carry bit. So there is no carry forward. So that means carry flag is 0. Then we have negative flag. Negative flag is set when the result of an operation is negative. So whenever you're dealing with negative numbers, this flag is set to 1. Overflow flag. Now, overflow flag is set when an arithmetic operation produces a value too large to be represented. So if you are adding two numbers, right, and your register has 2 bits space, but your answer is coming in 3 bits. So that means you have an overflow. In that case, overflow flag is set to 1. Then we have zero flag. Zero flag is set when result of an operation is 0. Simple. If your result is 0, zero flag is set to 1. Okay. Now there are few questions, past paper questions. This one we have already covered in my last video when we learned about von Neumann architecture. So let's have a look at this. A central processing unit contains several special purpose registers and other components. State the role of the following registers: program counter, index register, status register. We have just covered all these and this is of 3 marks. So program counter, index register, status register. Just write your answers and I'm going to show you answer key and mark scheme. Compare your answer with that. You may pause the video. This is the marking scheme. 1 mark for each special purpose register. Program counter to store the address, location, and memory location of the next instruction to be fetched. Index registers to store a value that is added to an address to give another address. Status register to store flags which are set by events or from the results of the arithmetic and logical operations and interrupt flags. Right? So that's all for today. We have learned about registers, which are very small, very fast storage locations inside the CPU. In my next video, we'll cover about all other components of CPU, including arithmetic logical unit, control unit, buses, etc., etc. Till then, take care. Bye bye.